from a distance. I can, so beautiful. I can hear you within the silence. Ooh.
You're listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show with your host, Brad Brock.
Yes, good morning, Jammers. TGIF, it is Friday, here on Jams and Coffee in the Morning. My name is Brad Brock, and I'm your host, as previously mentioned. Thank you for tuning in with me this morning. And, man, we made it to the end of the week. All 5 shows here. Very first week of JNC in the morning. Very excited about that. Mostly impressed with myself and the ability to get up and do this. But more impressive is you guys tuning in with me in the morning. Philip, Paul, you guys are always here for me. And all of the rest of you that have been tuning in and listening and chiming in with me here. Of course, the hotline's open, 772-888-1596. Give me your input or anything that you'd like to chime into. So we're going to do a little, kick it off with a little check of the weather as we normally do. Looking out the window, looks a bit cloudy out there. It's around 79 degrees, and there's a little bit of condensation on the window. But I think it's going to rain today. I think it's going to rain. The high's at 86 degrees today. About a 43% chance of rain across South Florida and the Treasure Coast. Scattered thunderstorms are looking likely in the afternoon hour. But, man, looking out there right now, it looks like we might get a little rain this morning. So, as I've said all week, be sure to carry a umbrella or a raincoat around with you today. Keep yourself dry. It's the best thing to do. Well, I hope everybody's had a good week out there so far. I've had a pretty good week. I played a show last night at Manatee Island in Fort Pierce, and it was lovely. I had a great time. Always fun to play at that place. Great regulars that are there. Saw some old friends that rolled through and had dinner there and hung out for a little while. And just always a good time. And a little extra, there was a perfect vantage point there on the inlet to watch the rocket go up. The SpaceX Falcon rocket went up last night right on schedule around 8:44 p.m. and got to see it bright in all of its glory out there, taking off into the sky. Lovely sight. And one thing that I noticed, and I had to take a step back outside of the whole experience, was all the people there stopped everything they were doing to get up and go and watch this rocket launch. And I was thinking to myself, people are still fascinated by things that are traveling into space. And I find that endearing, and I enjoy the wonder that people still experience from space travel. Even down to the Blue Origin rockets that Jeff Bezos puts up into space with people willing to pay the ticket or the celebrities that he chooses to go up there to garner even more attention for those rocket launches. And although it's just a 30-second trip before returning to Earth, I think it is wondrous. I got a little teary-eyed when he sent William Shatner up into space. I thought that was a very interesting and cool full-circle moment. However, William Shatner was not as thrilled as looking back on the experience. He was quoted as saying, "The darkness is like death. When you come, you're in the you're in the atmosphere of the Earth, and everything's blue." And he said, just as you go through the atmosphere, all of a sudden it's just a blanket of black. And he said, life on Earth is life, and in space is death. And interesting way of thinking, I suppose, from William Shatner, who's definitely put his time in, time and time again, throughout history. Well, we're going to dive right into our very first music break here while I prepare our local news stories. Not much going on in the news in terms of local stuff, but something interesting about Port St. Lucie. And we're going to read a little bit about that when we come back. Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to JNC in the Morning. This first tune is from Tasty Vibrations. This is Can't Stop Us. We'll be right back.
Pick up the frequency, the video energy. Ask no question, let the rhythm be the remedy. Can't silence me, can't silence my enemies. Who's meant to be will always be. This is your destiny. They can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. Nah, nah, no, nah, nah, no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. Obligation controls the population. No imitation, you know that we're not faking. You give my mind right, free my soul. So I am singing upon the microphone. And they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no. Dreaming clear, but fast and reasons, spitting verses through the mind like it's my purpose. Never perfect, open the curtain, call the masses. Use your imagination and imagine a nation singing. They can't stop us, no. No, 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 they can't stop us, no. No, 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 they can't stop us, no. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. Stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no. La ba ba la ba. La ba ba la ba. La ba ba la ba. Just outside of the city that I hated the most. Now you got your reason for a cold-hearted stare. I look past your soul and straight into fear. I'm leaving nothing to bring me back to you.
past your soul and straight into fear. I'm leaving nothing to bring me back to you. But I'm leaving something to let you know. Every single verse still feels the same. I've been waiting years for that to change. When your heart gives out and I am gone, I hope you remember that you were loved. Yeah, you were loved. Every single verse still feels the same. I've been waiting years for that to change. When your heart gives out and I am gone, I hope you remember that you were loved. Yeah, you were loved.
You're listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show.
Yes, we are back, and you are listening to the Jams and Coffees Morning Show. That was the Gravel Kings with You Were Loved. Fronted, of course, by our good friend Zach Jones, who is now a member of the band Sandman Sleeps. Be sure to check all that out. So we're back. Check it out, you guys. Port St. Lucie ranks as the second safest city in the entire country, and it's number 7 for growth. How about that? Our little Port St. Lucie, with 15,000 people now living in the Tradition area of Port St. Lucie alone, Police Chief John Bolduc is creating a patrol zone just for that part of the city. He says Tradition has as many people as some of the other cities in our area. Growth and safety go hand in hand for Port St. Lucie, and the numbers indicate city leaders are balancing both. Based on a study by U.S. News and World Report, a magazine ranks Port St. Lucie as the second safest city in the nation, coupled with being the 7th fastest growing city in the country. U.S. News based the rankings on metro area's murder and property crime rates per 100,000 people, determined by the FBI crime reports from 2018. For instance, the violent crime rate for Port St. Lucie was 249.8 per 100,000 people, well below the national violent crime rate of 368.9 per 100,000 people. Chief Bolduc said, "I've been here 27 years, so I've ridden the growth roller coaster, but this has been a profound period of super growth. It's unprecedented. And that is why Tradition is getting its own patrol zone this year. Crime in Tradition is low compared to other parts of the city, but Bolduc said there is a high amount of service calls, another reason why the area needs its own district." He goes on to say, "We've been building up staff since 2019 to be ready to create that district this year. We've always been proactive. It's been that way well before I became chief. Port St. Lucie has a more relaxed atmosphere than its larger neighbors, such as Miami or Orlando," the U.S. News synopsis states. "Its clean streets and quiet neighborhoods are woven around scenic waterways and lush green golf courses. Homes in the area can be affordable to buy or rent compared with other South Florida housing markets. However, as Port St. Lucie's popularity has risen, so too has the cost of housing here." And that's the truth, my goodness. As a person who has grown up here in Port St. Lucie, the larger part of my life, I imagine. I've seen the growth and seen rent prices soar and housing prices soar here, and I'm sure that some of you out there know how I'm feeling if you live in the Port St. Lucie area. Baldock credits community policing and data-based investigations as the two main reasons why Port St. Lucie would rank so high on the safety survey. He said, we're building partnerships with residents and businesses. And with the metrics used by U.S. News, Naples was the only city deemed safer. So Florida, we're killing it. 6 more Florida cities trailed Port St. Lucie in the top 10. Port St. Lucie was also ranked 8th for the best places to retire by U.S. News. It's great to be recognized, and it's great for the community, Baldock said. I raised my kids here and would recommend it. So, you're not the only one. I was a kid raised here. And while I've seen a tremendous amount of changes over the years, I still believe that this is one of the greatest cities that I've ever lived in. It's been a major growth, but a slow growth. We all complain about traffic and whatnot, but I think everything has been pretty methodical with the opening of the Crosstown Parkway. I think that's relieved quite a bit of traffic from St. Lucie West Boulevard and Port St. Lucie Boulevard, in fact, to give another option from highway to US 1. Really made a difference. And I genuinely, while we do hear some crazy stories, crazy crime stories here in the city, I feel very safe to live here. Knock on wood, of course. Certainly wouldn't want to not knock on wood for that one. That would be my luck. But yeah, so good job, Port St. Lucie. You guys are killing it. Not literally killing it, because that would make it unsafe. Anyway. In national news, a little bit of sad news here. At the young age of 73 years old, Ivana Trump has passed away. Of course, you know her as the ex-wife of former President Trump. But she was also a business person and successful in her own right. The story says Ivana Trump, a longtime business person and an ex-wife of Donald Trump, has died in her home in New York City. The New York Police Department said later on Thursday there did not appear to be any criminality related to her death. According to a statement, police received a 911 call about an aided individual around 12:40 p.m. and found a 73-year-old female unconscious and unresponsive. The fire department of New York said it responded to a report of an individual suffering a cardiac arrest at the residence, with the time and place of that response matching the location of NYPD associated with Trump. The fire department said the victim was dead on arrival, unfortunately. EMS police said pronounced Trump dead at the scene and added that the medical examiner will determine the cause of death. She was, of course, the mother of Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump. So, sail on, Ivana. Very sad. We were just talking about airlines yesterday here on the show, and I got a little story about Delta. And I'm not sure if Delta's stepping it up or they're just putting a big Band-Aid on their trash airline service. But 1,000 bags, 0 passengers, Delta flight from Heathrow is the latest sign of air travel hell. Delta Airlines took what it called a creative step to solve a massive baggage problem for passengers flying through troubled Heathrow Airport. Others might call the move extreme. The airline flew a plane from London to its hub in Detroit, packed with 1,000 lost bags and 0 passengers. Staffing shortage that caused a service meltdown at Heathrow in recent weeks has now been dubbed Airmageddon. Oh, they're so clever. Airport authorities have responded to the canceled flights and massive lost baggage complaints by telling airlines they must cap the number of passengers at one of the world's busiest airports to 100,000 people a day. So, Delta figured out a way to get lost bags out of the airport, even though it could no longer take passengers. A statement from the airline says Delta teams worked a creative solution to move delayed checked bags from London Heathrow on July 11th after a regularly scheduled flight had to be canceled given airport passenger volume restrictions at the airport. Delta Flight 9888 from Heathrow to Delta's Detroit hub flew 1,000 bags back to the United States, where teams then forwarded the bags on to our customers. So I guess that kind of goes against what I said about Delta yesterday. Don't expect luggage to arrive. In fact, it did arrive on its own airplane. So I guess in terms of that, they are stepping it up just a little bit. Delta and other U.S. airlines have been hit with their own staffing shortages and service problems so far this summer travel season, causing nearly 30,000 flights from or within the United States to be canceled, according to tracking service FlightAware. The disruptions have been particularly bad over holiday weekends, such as Memorial Day, Father's Day, Juneteenth, and, of course, the July 4th holiday. Delta reported earnings Wednesday that were sharply lower than forecast, due in part to higher fuel costs, but also greatly attributed to the cost of dealing with those service problems. Although Delta did not break out the specific costs for the service issues, it did say it will pay an extra $200 million this year in overtime and premium pay to reduce the number of flight cancellations. And that doesn't count other costs associated with service disruptions, such as flying jets full of bags overseas without any paying customers on board. Delta CEO Ed Bastian said during a call with investors on Wednesday, "I want to thank our customers for their patience and understanding as we restore the reliability that you've come to expect from Delta." So look at that. Delta doing their thing, trying their best. The old college try. When we come back from the next music break, we're going to talk a little bit about Bill Gates and his hefty donation. He's looking to be in the poorhouse, it appears. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that. You're listening to JNC in the morning. I'm Brad Brock, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Dark days with blue skies. He was killing me with bedroom eyes, and I lost my mind from loving a man on the borderline. Big truths in his little lies. Oh, hypnotized, but if you bend over backwards, you might break your spine. Oh, but it'll heal in time, because rain clouds don't live forever. But I stayed bitter as I got better. As I broke down, I came around, and I'm good friends with 4 a.m. So my heart to the sleeve of a careless wearer. He was my error. Warm days or cold nights, lived in the dark waiting for the light. On 2 rounds, held tight. that rain clouds don't live forever, but I stayed bitter as I got better as I broke down. I came around and I'm good friends with 4 a.m. So now hard to the sleeve of a careless wearer. I was his child, he was my error. Rain clouds don't live forever, but I stayed bitter as I got better as I broke down. I came around and I'm good friends with 4 a.m. So now I'm hard to the sleeve of a careless heart. I was his child, he was my error. I hope he doesn't love you like he loved me, new girl. I hope you jump ship, cause it's a submarine. And once it starts sinking, it won't stop sinking. And it ain't no fun down here with me. He's an out with the old and in with the new girl. Your heart's not something he's worried about. Once he starts hurting, it won't stop hurting. Believe me then, or believe me when he pulls the crazy card. Cause that's just how we all are. You'll know you're not that far from a new girl. I'm not trying to make it hard on a new girl, cause I've been there, yeah, I've been you. Once he starts cheating, he won't stop cheating. The one before me had dark hair too, just like you. So when he pulls the crazy card and says, how just like me you are, you'll know he's not that far. You don't wanna be the new girl. You don't wanna be, you don't wanna be. You don't wanna be the new girl. You don't wanna be, you don't wanna be. You don't wanna be the new girl. You don't wanna be, you don't wanna be. You think you wanna be, you don't wanna be the new girl. Cause it ain't no fun down here. Trust me.
All right, we're back. That was Jamie Floyd with New Girl. It appears, you guys, that Bill Gates is unloading quite a bit of money into his foundation there. He's actually Headline is reads, it gives $20 billion to stem, quote, significant suffering. Let's find out what that means. Bill Gates, concerned about the significant suffering caused by global setbacks, including the COVID-19 pandemic, announced Wednesday that he will donate $20 billion to his foundation so it can increase its annual spending. The donation, combined with longtime board member Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett's $3.1 billion gift last month, brings the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's endowment to approximately $70 billion, making it one of the largest, if not the largest, in the world, depending on daily stock valuations. In an essay on the foundation's website, Bill Gates said he hopes others in position of great wealth and privilege will step up in this moment too. The Gates Foundation plans to raise its annual budget by 50% over pre-pandemic levels to about $9 billion by 2026. The foundation hopes the increased spending will improve education, reduce poverty, and reinstate the global progress towards ending preventable disease and achieving gender equality that has been halted in recent years. According to the United Nations Development Program, 71 million people have been pushed into poverty since Russia's invasion of the Ukraine in February, mainly due to food and energy price surges. Households in the Balkans, and the Caspian Sea region, and the sub-Saharan Africa have been hit particularly hard. The UN World Food Program reports that the number of acutely hungry people is now 345 million people, up 25% since the start of the war in Ukraine. Bill Gates, the foundation's co-chair, he said in a statement, despite huge global setbacks in the past few years, I see credible heroism and sacrifice all over the world, and I believe progress is possible. The great crisis of our time require all of us to do more. I hope by giving more, we can mitigate some of the suffering people are facing right now and help fulfill the foundation's vision to give every person a chance to live a healthy and productive life. Co-chair Melinda Gates said the additional spending will help provide a more, quote, fair and inclusive recovery. So, how much is Bill Gates worth? I'm going to look up Bill Gates. I'm going to look up his net worth currently and see where it lands at this $20 billion mark. Let's find out. Bill Gates, net worth. Let's see. So it says in 2022, his net worth is $122.4 billion. So $20 billion seems like just a drop in the bucket, doesn't it? Seems like not a big deal at all, right? Who needs it? He still has $100 billion in the bank. Can anybody else out there wrap your mind around having $100 billion in the bank? In the bank are, bank and assets, I suppose. That it's not just cash on hand, but still, that's a lot. That is a lot, and we were just talking about high rent rates here in Fort St. Lucie. Could you imagine? In the same essay, Bill Gates wrote that polarization in the United States makes battling global crisis tougher. He says the political divide limits our political capacity for dialogue, compromise, and cooperation, and thwarts the bold leadership required both domestically and internationally to tackle these threats. Polarization is forcing us to look backwards and fight again for basic human rights, social justice, and democratic norms. I think what you want of Bill Gates, but I would imagine that I agree with that statement. I think political divide is a huge problem for progress in any time period or any iteration of the United States. So the potential for even further regression is scary. It will put lives at risk for women, people of color, and anyone living on the margins. And there are quite a few. So, yeah, Bill Gates parting with $20 billion. We'll see what he does with it. I have a question for you guys to ponder. Switching gears just a little bit. And I was thinking about this as I was taking a shower, which I do most of my thinking while I'm showering. And my question is it necessary to shower daily? Do you shower daily out there? Is this part of your daily routine to get up and bathe? And on the contrary, do you not shower every single day? So let me know in the chats and comments when the hotline is open. It's 772-888-1596. I found this article, and I guess I'll start by saying, me personally, I don't shower every single day. And not because I'm just a filthy, gross mess, because I am. But no, there are many days where I shower the night before, and I get up and I work, primarily from home, so I don't leave my house sometimes for a couple days in a row. So I'm not out there getting filthy dirty, and I consider my house to be a pretty clean place. So yeah, sometimes I will work into the evening, and then change my clothes, and I do always rinse my feet at the very least, because I think it's gross to get into bed with dirty feet. But so I will do that almost every single night before I go to bed, regardless of whether I showered that day or not. I will always rinse my feet before I get into bed. But I don't shower every day. And I found this article, and I thought it was interesting, so I'm going to share it with you guys. So the question is, do you shower or bathe daily? And if you do, you're not alone. Imagine that. Approximately 2/3 of Americans shower daily. In Australia, it's over 80%. But in China, half of the people report bathing only twice a week. In the U.S., the daily shower tends to start around puberty and becomes lifelong. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why? Perhaps your answer is because it's healthier than showering less often. But think again. For many, perhaps most, the daily shower is more about habit and societal norms than health. Perhaps that's why the frequency of bathing or showering varies so much from country to country. So are there reasons to shower every day? Well, beside considering it healthier, people may choose to shower daily for a number of reasons, including concerns about body odor, to help waking up in the morning, or a morning routine that may include working out. Each of these has merit, especially considering that personal or work relationships can be jeopardized by complaints about body odor or personal hygiene. But what is considered acceptable in this regard varies from culture to culture. And some, perhaps a lot, of what we do when it comes to cleaning habits is influenced heavily by marketing. Ever notice that directions on shampoo bottles often say lather, rinse, repeat? Well, there's no compelling reason to wash your hair twice with each shower, but it does sell more shampoo if anyone ever follows these directions. When it comes to concerns about health, however, it's not all clear that a daily shower accomplishes much. In fact, a daily shower may even be bad for your health. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I missed it. It's true. It's true. It's true. What are the health impacts of showering or bathing every day? Well, I'm going to tell you. Normal, healthy skin maintains a layer of oil and a balance of good bacteria and other microorganisms. Washing and scrubbing removes these, especially if the water is hot. And as a result, skin may become dry, irritated, or itchy. Dry, cracked skin may allow bacteria and allergens to breach the barrier skin, the barrier that skin is supposed to provide, allowing skin infections and allergic reactions to occur. So if you do have these really crazy allergies to certain things, I imagine in the last 20 years, there's certainly been an uptick in allergic reactions, especially in kids, but to others as well. It can allow these things to occur. Antibacterial soaps can actually kill off the normal good bacteria, and this upsets the balance of microorganisms on the skin and encourages the emergence of hardier, less friendly organisms that are more resistant to antibiotics. Now, Paul's chiming in over on YouTube. Why do you shave in the evening, Paul? I shave. I usually shave before I head off to a gig. I rarely shave when I'm just have days where I'm just working from home. So I can look like a bum while I'm sitting here. Our immune system needs a certain amount of stimulation by normal microorganisms, dirt, and other environmental exposures in order to create protective antibodies and immune memory. This is one reason why some pediatricians and dermatologists recommend against daily baths for kids. Frequent baths or showers throughout a lifetime may reduce the ability of the immune system to actually do its job. There could be other reasons to lose your enthusiasm for the daily shower. The water with which we clean ourselves may actually contain salt, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides, and other chemicals. And it's possible these may cause problems too. So let's make the case for showering less. Overcleaning your body is probably not a compelling health issue. Yes, you could be making your skin drier than it would be with less frequent showering. This is not a public health menace. However, daily showers do not improve your health. Could cause skin problems or other health issues, and importantly, it wastes a lot of water. Also, the oils, perfumes, and other additives in shampoos, conditioners, and soaps may cause problems of their own, such as allergic reactions. Not to mention the cost of using these products every single day. So, the question is, how often should you shower? While there is no ideal frequency, experts suggest that showering several times per week is plenty for most people, unless you are grimy, sweaty, or have other reasons to shower more often. Short showers, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, with a focus on the armpits and groin, may suffice. The real stinky parts, So if you shower daily and you want to be more health conscious, it might be a habit worth breaking. Give it a shot. If you're not a complete disgusting mess, skip a day and see how your skin feels by not getting rid of all those oils. I read somewhere that Mila Kunis, actress Mila Kunis, her and Ashton Kutcher do not shower every day, and she had an interesting quote, and I thought it was funny and interesting and informative. And she says, when she showers, she focuses on her pits, tits, and holes. And you can write that one down because I thought it was hilarious. Pits, tits, and holes. Interesting. We know a little bit more about Mila Kunis now. Okay. All right, Paul. I see where you're going with that. Paul says archaeologists died because they shaved in the morning and went into the tombs where all sorts of shit was in the air. And, I guess any of those abrasions or cuts that you might give yourself exposing your blood all that weird stuff, all the potentially diseased air could get in there and kill you. That's interesting. That's an interesting story. I might have to look that up on the break and read a little bit about that. But Paul says he laxes on showering on the weekends. And, when I was a teenager, you're going through puberty, your hormones are raging, and that creates really funky smells that emanate from your body. And while I feel like that has relaxed in my older years, and I feel like I'm just overall less active when I'm unintentionally being inactive. So, yeah, I would say that I on my days off during the week, I am pretty relaxed on showering, providing I don't leave the house. Because like as I mentioned, there's several days where I don't leave. I'm incredibly busy here in the lounge working and doing other projects. So I just hang out here in the air conditioning. So interesting. Well, if you got anything to add, feel free to in the chats and comments, or you can give me a shout on the hotline at 772-888-1596. Paul says, relaxed hormone. Yes, my hormones have significantly relaxed, I imagine, since becoming an old fart. We're going to get another music break in here. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Casual Friday. And I am going to look up that story about archaeologists shaving before they go into the tombs, and what kind of craziness that may have caused. So, this one's for you, Paul. This is Once Upon a Bottle of Rum by yours truly. And you're listening to JNC in the Morning. We'll be right back.
The streets are all empty and the stores are all closed. I've got a rip in my shirt and I'm trying to get home. The money I had was a fool's time to shine, and buy the whole bar around just before closing time. Any good tale I have that's worth being told, starting with something in silver or gold. There are some things that can't be undone. It all happened once upon a bottle of rum. It all happened once upon a bottle of rum. I sailed off to find what I just hadn't found, living my life in my little hometown. So I traveled the world singing songs to get by, fell in love by the dozens on those hot island nights. Any good tale I have that's worth being told, starting with something in silver or gold. There are some things that can't be undone. It all happened once upon a bottle of rum. It all happened once upon a bottle of rum. And I'm old and gray with my kids by my side, ask me about all the times of my life, I'll smile and I'll say that the things that I've done all happened once upon a bottle of rum. All happened once upon a bottle of rum.
There's a daddy of a roadhouse. It doesn't matter what it's called, but it's exactly like every other roadhouse you ever saw. And the paint on the outside is peeling, and the cheesecake is revealing, but it's the waitress that I adore. Greasy Mabel, up and down the table. Won't you tell me that I'm yours? Greasy Mabel, meet me maybe later when you finish doing your chores. When I'm rich, I might ask you to marry me. We could buy a roadhouse or who knows, maybe three. And you can take the orders, and we'll even take in borders, and we'll call it Greasy Mabel's Eatery. Greasy Mabel, up and down the table. Won't you tell me that I'm yours? Greasy Mabel, meet me maybe later when you finish doing your When I can, I'll sell the rig and I'll buy me a car. Until then, well, I guess I just have to love you from afar. But honey, if only you would smile at me just once in a while instead of the others in the bar. Greasy Mabel, up and down the table. Won't you tell me that I'm yours? Greasy Mabel, meet me maybe later when you finish doing your chores. Greasy Mabel, up and down the table. Won't you tell me that I'm yours? Greasy Mabel, meet me maybe later when you finish doing your chores.
Right, that's Philippa Cookman, Greasy Mabel. You're listening to JNC in the morning. I am Brad Brock. 772-888-1596 is the hotline. Paul's comment has sent me down a rabbit hole, and now we have to talk about it. Because the opening of King Tut's tomb spawned a huge amount of supernatural phenomenon, and including the story to Paul's point about shaving. So I'll give you a little history. On November 4th, 1922, a team of archaeologists led by Howard Carter discovered a step that marked the entrance to King Tut's tomb. When the tomb itself was discovered on November 26th, 1922, after more than 3,000 years of uninterrupted repose, some believed the pharaoh unleashed a powerful curse of death and destruction upon all who dared disturb his eternal slumber. And like any urban legend or media sensation, the alleged curse of the pharaohs grew to epic proportions over the years. So here's a couple of people who might make you believe in such things, and including one that directly relates to Paul's story. So the man who apparently financed the excavation of King Tut's tomb was the first to succumb to the supposed curse. Lord Carnarvon, what an interesting name. He accidentally tore open a mosquito bite while shaving and ended up dying of blood poisoning shortly thereafter. This occurred a few months after the tomb was opened and a mere 6 weeks after the press started reporting on the mummy's curse, which was thought to afflict anyone associated with disturbing the mummy. Legend has it that he died, all the lights in his house, that when he died, all the lights in his house, or according to some accounts, the lights in all of Cairo mysteriously went out. Interesting. So be careful shaving around those mosquito bites. Howard Carter, the archaeologist who discovered the tomb, gave a paperweight to his friend Bruce as a gift. The paperweight, appropriately, consisted of a mummified hand wearing a bracelet that was supposedly inscribed with the phrase, "Cursed be he who moves my body." Ingram did not die from the mummy's curse, though his house burned to the ground not long after receiving the gift. When he tried to rebuild it, it was hit with a flood. No joy. There was a man named Gould. He was a wealthy American financier and a railroad executive who visited the tomb in 1923, and he fell sick almost immediately afterward, and he never really recovered and died of pneumonia a few months later. There's real things going on there back in the 20s. Evelyn White, a British archaeologist, visited King Tut's tomb and may have helped excavate the site. Reading and pronouncing words. After seeing death sweep over about 24 of his fellow excavators in 1924, Evelyn White died by suicide, but not before writing, allegedly in his own blood, "I have succumbed to a curse which forces me to disappear." Dun, dun, dun. I keep missing my cue. Unbelievable. Some of these are crazy, man. Goes as far as proving that you didn't even have to be one of the excavators or expedition backers to fall victim to Tut's curse. Reed, a radiologist, merely x-rayed Tut before the mummy was given to museum authorities. He got sick the very next day and was dead 3 days later. We might as well just go all the way down the rabbit hole. Breasted, another Egyptologist of the day, a member of Carter's team when King Tut's tomb was opened. Shortly thereafter, he allegedly returned home to find that his pet canary had been eaten by a cobra, and the cobra was still occupying the cage. Since the cobra is a symbol of the Egyptian monarchy and a motif that kings wore on their headdresses to represent protection, this was a rather ominous sign. Now, Breasted himself didn't die until 1935, although his death did occur immediately after a trip to Egypt. Now, the very last thing on this list is Howard Carter himself. He was the leader of that team. He never had a mysterious, inexplicable illness, and his house never fell victim to any fiery disasters. He died of lymphoma at the age of 64. His tombstone even says, "May your spirit live. May you spend millions of years. You who love Thebes, sitting with your face to the north wind, your eyes beholding happiness. Perhaps the pharaohs saw it fit to spare him from their curse. Quite interesting, Paul. And speaking of Paul, just before Jordan headed out to work just now, I was bestowed some gifts of my own. So I'm going to share them with you guys. First is this delicious barbecue sauce infused with Doc Brown's really bad rum. This is his Driftwood smoked barbecue sauce. I'm very excited to try this out. It looks awesome. It's a little dark in here, so I'm having a hard time reading it. But there it is right there if you're watching the show. Doc Brown's really bad rum barbecue sauce. I also got some other goodies. By Doc Brown, a couple Doc Brown's really bad rum shot glasses. Very cool. Can always use these in our bar here. And some really, really cool whiskey glasses. I'm going to actually break this open and take a peek here, Paul. Because you had sent me some information on these. And I read it over, and these are specifically designed to maximize flavor and aroma of whiskeys. So these are specially designed glasses to take the enjoyment of whiskey to another level. And I'm very excited to try these out. Thank you so much, Paul. These great additions to the bar. We'll be sharing them soon enough because Paul and I are diving into a little liquor review venture. So keep an eye out for more information on that. And when that arrives to a podcast channel near you, very excited about that and getting to work with Paul on some of these things. I think without further ado, I think it's time to get into our JNC top 10 list, and it's a good one. It's a good one. This is for you nostalgia freaks and you 90s babies. Let's get into it. JNC's top 10 list.
Hey, it's Brad, and it's National Grand Marnier Day.
No, it's not. Usually that video's on the top. It had been replaced yesterday. It's time for our top 10 list, and this top 10 list is great. So these are the top 10 things from the 90s that we'll never do again. And it's loaded with nostalgia overload, you guys. So let's jump right into it. Number 10 on this list of 90s things that we'll never do again is wait to see your pictures. That's right. If you were born after the 90s, there's a good chance you've never been exposed exposed to the world of film cameras. They had been around for more than 100 years before the era of digital photography took over. Prior to this new media, photos were captured onto a strip of film and then had to be sent away to be developed. Whether you use a modern 1-hour photo center or you sent them away for a few days, you had to wait at least a little bit of time to see how they came out. Even worse, most rolls of film could only hold around 25 pictures or so. But you tended to end up with less because somebody was always covering the lens with their thumb. Oh, the good old days. Number 9. You may still see this around, but I imagine it's going to go away fairly soon. And that's crank windows. That's right. Although this feature can still be found in a handful of modern cars, for the most part, it's a thing of the past. Today, you push a button and the window in your car rolls up and down effortlessly. Because we're living in the future. Prior to this feature being widely available, riders had to manually crank the small arm on the door to open and close the windows. It was tedious, and made even worse in certain weather conditions. Power windows actually hit the market pretty early on in 1941. It really was only a luxury at the time. It took many years before they became the standard, and now we can't imagine looking back. Number 8, and this became truer than anything just recently. And I think we talked about this on another list, but using a payphone. It was in the 2010s when carrying a phone in your pocket became the mainstream. And not only do most people carry some type of mobile device, but also more often than not, it's the primary, if not only, way people stay connected. Yet it wasn't that long ago that things were quite different. Payphones were physical booths with corded telephones that a person could put change into to make a single local call. They were found in malls, gas stations, restaurants, and virtually anywhere you might need to make a phone call from. Most payphones have since been retired, and the ghosts of those left behind are considered relics of an era long gone. Kind of poetic when you think about it. And they did. I think they just took the last bank of payphones out of New York City. Really the end of an era there. So as number 8 of the top 10 things we'll never do again from the 90s. This is a pretty normal one. Number 7, using a floppy disk. I remember in my freshman year of college, it was required that we had a floppy disk to submit homework assignments and things like that. And I guess an effort to save paper, you turn in your floppy disk and it would be returned to you. Interesting. So how we store information for our electronic devices has come a long way. It's hard to imagine the likes of cassette tapes or punch cards being used to store computer data. Floppy disks were invented as a portable storage medium to hold electronic information. They contained a magnetic circular disk that would spin while a device read from them and wrote data onto it. They were the most popular way to transfer data from one computer to another for many years. Eventually replaced, of course, by CDs, DVDs, USB sticks, and hard drives. Floppy disks have only managed to survive as the save icon in your Word document. I guess we're all a little nostalgic, huh? Number 6 on this list, using a phone book. Do you know the difference between the yellow pages and the white pages? Well, if you were born in the smartphone age, you probably not. Every year, homes would get a copy of these delivered to their doorstep. Feeling old yet? You needed somebody's landline number, you'd open the white pages and look it up. When you needed a plumber or wanted to order a pizza, you'd dig out the yellow pages. These giant books contain the listings for every business and person with a local phone in your area. Since they've been since replaced by a quick Google search, the most common thing these books are used for now is kindling. Kindling fires. Or ripping them in half works too. As a show of strength. Number 5 on this list. Blowing out video game cartridges. Now, as a person who still owns a working, intact, original NES system, I still blow on these video games, even though it's been proven that it never did a damn thing to get the game to work again. But if you own the original NES, as I do, there's a good chance that you did this. Every so often, you put in your cartridge, turn on the console, and get a weird, glitchy screen. Turning off the console, you'd retrieve the cartridge, blow into it, then put it back and try again. More often than not, the game would spring back to life and you would go on. Since many consoles in the 80s and 90s relied on solid-state cartridges for games, this trick became the de facto way to fix your game when it wouldn't load. Whether or not it actually worked is debatable, but nonetheless, players did it all the time. Yeah, Philip brings up a good point. He said, we answered the phone when we didn't know who was on the other end. That's the truth. Number 4 on the list, rent movies at a store. All cards on the table. We know that video rental stores are not completely dead. A handful of mom and pop shops are still out there, and you'll occasionally see videos for rent at a corner store. Across the board, however, the world has moved on to streaming and on-demand movies. When Netflix introduced the idea of subscription-based DVD rentals towards the end of the 90s, it signaled the end of an era. No longer did you have to leave your house to rent a film. About a decade later, they pivoted to streaming, and the world never looked back. Sorry, Blockbuster, but we do not miss your late fees. However, I do miss carrying that laminated card around. I wish I still had mine because I think that would be a collector item. Number 3 on the list, recording songs on cassette tape. Now, much like our previous entry, the world of music faced a massive change in the 90s as well. At one time, music fans would listen to their favorite songs on the radio and scramble to record them on a cassette tape when they came on. Then, along came Napster and MP3s, and the world changed forever. With the introduction of digital music, the landscape completely shifted. No one was recording songs off the radio or making mixtapes anymore. Instead, services like iTunes and Spotify let us hear any song that we wanted, of course, for a small fee. At least we don't have to hear the announcer's voice at the start or end of your favorite tunes anymore. Seriously. Sometimes they spoke right through it. Number 2 on the list, using dial-up internet. And this one tugs at my heartstrings a little bit. 1997, using a 56K baud modem, it would have taken you roughly 10 minutes to download a single 4 megabyte MP3 file. Although that may seem ridiculously slow compared to what we have now, the internet was also a different place. During the days of dial-up internet, the web didn't really exist. And most people used the internet to simply browse message boards and surf through gopher sites, which were essentially just text-based web pages. Users of dial-up internet will tell tales of slow load times and that terrible screeching noise of the phone connecting to a provider. You couldn't even use the phone and the internet at the same time. The 90s were wild. We do have an honorable mention before we hit to number 1. And this was running back to the TV after commercials played. So it was kind of like a game of cat and mouse to see whether you'd make it back in time. You remember the show would take a commercial break and you'd run to pee or grab a drink and snack, and whatever the case was, and sibling or somebody would yell to you that the show is back on and you come running. Number 1 on the list is Be Kind, Please Rewind. Yes, we're talking about VHS. And in the early years, even before VHS, was Betamax. They were magnetic strips put into VCRs, and a short, of course, for video cassette recorders. Audiences would rent a film in the form of a VHS tape, play it on their VCR, and when the movie was done, they would rewind it for the next person. Those courtesies that just don't exist anymore, do they? Much like cassettes, VHS tapes were a magnetic medium and ran sequentially from start to finish. If you wanted to go back to an early part in the film, you had to physically rewind the tape. Movie rental stores would always have signs and stickers reminding people to rewind their tapes before returning them. Not only was it annoying, but it was the constant nagging reminder to do so. No one misses that part of the 90s. I kind of do, because I'm a nostalgia junkie. But that is today's JNC Top 10 list. The things we'll never do again from the 90s. Ah, yes. Do you have any that I missed on the list out there? I know Philip mentioned answering the phone. We didn't know who was on the other end. Being tethered to the wall like a dog in the backyard. Philip says he still has a beta machine. It weighs more than the TV. Yeah, interesting. I even remember Laserdisc. How big they were, like the size of a vinyl. And, I guess the precursor to DVDs. Ooh, I just heard some thunder. So the weather report is it's about to rain in Port St. Lucie. What else we got going on today? Got some national days if you're into celebrating that kind of thing. Today is National Gummy Worm Day. It's also National Tapioca Pudding Day, I Love Horses Day, Pet Fire Safety Day, Give Something Away Day, and Youth Skills Day. Interesting. Got some birthdays, too. Some celebrity birthdays. Scroll up here. Linda Ronstadt, 76 years old today. One of her singles you might know her from is oh gosh, she's got so many of them. Now I can't think of them. Give me some Linda Ronstadt songs out there. Guitar virtuoso Joe Satriani is 65 years old today. Actor Forrest Whitaker, 61. Drummer Jason Bonham, son of legendary drummer John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, is 56 years old today. Adam Savage from it's a debunked show, Mythbusters. He's 55. Brian Austin Green, you may remember him from Beverly Hills 90210, the original. He's 49. Was also associated with Megan Fox for many years, married to her and father of her children. Comedian Gabriel Iglesias is 46, and actress Diane Kruger is 46. You may remember her from the National Treasure films. So happy birthday, you guys. We had some interesting on this day music news. So on this day back in 1972, Elton John started a 5-week run at number 1 on the U.S. album charts with his 5th studio album, Honky Chateau, his first U.S. chart topper. The album was titled after the 18th century French chateau where it was recorded. Don't ask me to pronounce it. But both tracks from the album, Rocket Man and Honky Cat, were released as singles. And, of course, the rest is history with those tunes. Coming into more modern times in 2015, and you guys, this was huge news. This was massive news back then in 2015. But a judge trimmed more than $1 million from the damages Pharrell Williams was ordered to pay after the Blurred Lines copyright trial. The case revolved around the question of whether Williams and his co-writer Robin Thicke had copied Marvin Gaye's 77 hit, Gotta Give It Up. The judge also gave Gaye's family a 50% cut of future earnings from the song. That song was gigantic, so that's quite a bit of money going there to the Marvin Gaye's estate. In 2018, Guns N' Roses made history. November Rain by Guns N' Roses became the first 90s video to pass 1 billion views on YouTube. The next closest 90s video was Zombie by the Cranberries, clocking in at 739 million views there on YouTube. So, Guns N' Roses making waves even in 2018. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. And I have one more thing to tackle here. Because it is Friday, I just wanted to give you a little history of Casual Friday. So if you're out there wearing blue jeans to work today, here's a little reason why that's probably what happened. So Casual Friday is actually Hawaiian in origin. His first name was Aloha Friday. And it came about as a way to support Hawaii's garment industry. And if you're watching the show, you can see I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt today and my little boats and palm trees. Under the moniker Operation Liberation in 1962, the Hawaiian Fashion Guild executed a pretty effective direct marketing tactic distributing 2 Aloha shirts apiece to every single member of the Hawaii House of Representatives and the Hawaii Senate. It comes as little surprise that the Hawaii Senate soon passed a resolution recommending that aloha attire be worn in the summer months. This started on Lei Day, which is May 1st, which celebrates traditional island culture, particularly that of Native Hawaiians. 3 years later, Bill Foster Sr., president of the HFG, formally initiated a lobbying campaign to convince employers to adopt Aloha Friday. He sold it as a way to let employees dress more casually, that is, of course, in an Aloha shirt, on the last day of the work week for a few months a year. The concept was officially adopted in 1966, and by 1970, Aloha attire was appropriate for any day of the week. And when the concept spread to California and finally made its way across the country by the 1990s, when Casual Friday became a household name. So be proud to dress down on Fridays, Casual Fridays, but always pay homage to where it started from in Hawaii. And with that, friends, I believe I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your Casual Friday and enjoy your weekend. Please be safe out there. The weather is not supposed to be tremendously good, but maybe it'll leave you some time to enjoy time in your home or with friends and family together without running amok out there. I appreciate you all tuning in this morning on JNC Coffee. That concludes a whole week, and I'm not sick of it, and I'm not tired of getting up and doing it, and I appreciate you guys being here with me. Quick shameless plugs before I dart off. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to our various channels on Facebook and YouTube. Support those who support us, like Code Rum, Paul from the Drums and Rums podcast, Ben and Hector from the 561 Music podcast, the Sneaky Tiki in downtown Stewart, Hop Life Brewing in Port St. Lucie, good friends of ours as well. Excellent beers and a great food truck. It's always there on property. And, of course, we'll be here with Jams and Coffee each weekday morning starting at 7 a.m. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off and send you on your way. Thank you so much for tuning in. JNC in the Morning. I'm Brad Brock. Catch you on Monday. Cheers.
Tune in again tomorrow morning for the latest local buzz, national headlines, music news, and more on JNC in the Morning, right here on Facebook and YouTube.